Hey, this is John Angus from the Trews. This is my interview for Gibson.com and for Epiphone.com.
So, what's going on with the Trews? Acoustic record came out?
Yeah, acoustic record came out about a year ago, followed by a tour that was meant to be a sort of concluding moment for the album, but it went so well that we're now doing another one this fall. And all summer we were doing acoustic festivals and whatnot. You know, we put the album out, I think it was towards the end of September, October. Yeah, we threw it about a month later. That, like I said, by Christmas we were going to be done with the acoustic vibe and onto the next record. And we did get onto making the next record, but the acoustic offers kept pouring in, so we kept doing it. It's really easy for us, you know. It's kind of a nice break in a way from all that racket, to be able to just strip the songs down to their basic form, and it breathes new life into the set and kind of puts new energy and perspective into the songs and into the band as a whole. So it's been a real welcome relief, but we're ready to, I think by the end of the next acoustic tour we're going to be ready to strap on the Les Pauls and crank up the Marshalls again and just rock. I mean the Epiphone amps.
So recently you guys did a song called Highway to Heroes. Mm-hmm. And you also, another Gibson artist, came on board from his fiddle to Jason. But I mean, that's a really touching, the whole story of the Highway to Heroes. Where did that come from?
The song came from, was inspired by the death of Captain Nicola Goddard from our hometown of Antigonish, Nova Scotia. She was killed in 2006 in Afghanistan. First female casualty over there. So it's kind of a unique story in that regard. And it was unique for us because, you know, you hear about a war going on and you kind of have your opinions about it, you know, whatever your politics are. When a death hits really close to home, it just puts a whole new perspective on what the soldiers do over there, regardless of your politics. Highway to Heroes is not a political song at all. It's a song for the soldiers, not for the war. So that sort of got us fired up, and we actually wrote Highway of Heroes for the acoustic tour I was just talking about, and started playing it every night in the encore, and it became quickly became a fan favorite. People had it on YouTube, and it was getting requested every night. So we decided to cut it when we got home. Gordy Johnson, another Gibson,
SG
fanatic with his own model. He produced the session, and we co-wrote the song with him. Actually, he kind of helped co-write the lyrics, which is why we zoomed out in the song. The narrator's from Ontario, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to sort of zoom out from the specifics of Nicola's story and make it more about the sort of soldier's plight at large, you know. So we cut the song and we decided to put it out as a one-off single between the records, in our sort of acoustic vein, and I used the 12-string on the recording and in the video. And that went, and again we partnered up with a charity because we didn't want to put a song out like that and then hoard all the money.
Yeah.
Seemed a bit inappropriate. So we partnered with the Canada Hero Fund, and all the money we raised from selling the single has gone to the kids and the spouses of fallen soldiers to help them retrain or to get an education, in the future or whenever that time comes. And so we're kind of happy with the result. It's sort of taken on a life of its own. We got letters from the Prime Minister and from soldiers all over the world, and the Chief of Defense gave us medals of honor, Canadian Chief of Defense. So we've just been floored by the reaction of it, and I think that comes from how touching the song is. Mm-hmm. Other songs have been written for soldiers, and I say this as just one part of the song, not to pat myself on the back. To me, it comes from the melody, and Colin did most of that stuff, and I think it's such a nice song that coupled with the topic has just made it a kind of runaway success, especially virally. People are passing it around, and soldiers from, like I said, all over the world, we get letters every day. So it's been a really great experience for us, for sure.
Now, you guys are originally from the East Coast,
mm-hmm.
Very small, Antigonish. Yeah. Then you did something you just moved to outside of Toronto. Yeah. As a band, what was that experience like? I mean, for young bands coming up now, this is a really great story about being driven and your words of wisdom about where the Trews are now.
I think, looking back, I think it was essential, to doing what we did. We all moved in under one roof. It was our first time, out of our parents' basements. We were just fresh out of high school and really wet behind the ears, and we sort of told ourselves that we would sink or swim by music. We wouldn't go get day jobs and and we didn't bust tables or do any of that kind of thing. We were just like, no, if we can't make a living playing, then we're going home. You know, basically, it started off as like a summer vacation. We ended up renting a house. I mean, with our own money, it was a cheap, like $700 a month house in Niagara Falls. And we were busking to make rent some months. You know, we literally couldn't get gigs, so we'd just be on the corner at Niagara Falls busking for tourists, and they'd just be filling our case. But all the while, we were going home all day, and we were writing songs, and we were rehearsing, like, pretty much all day, every day. We had nothing else to do.
You didn't know anybody?
We didn't know anybody. We've since made great friends down there, but it was like, I just think that that's important, and at the time it was annoying, and we were on each other's backs, and we were broke, and we were always fighting. But we were like forging a bond and a sound that I think a lot of bands don't bother to do anymore. Like, or I think it's becoming rarer and rarer. People are getting signed and putting a band together. You know, and all of a sudden, all those guys didn't know each other the week before, and now they're on tour. You know, whereas I think we have this sort of, and I think it comes through in the sound of the band, like a real, just a real tight, like friendship and bond and family. You know, for the most part. So I think that it gives you a sound and like a leg up performance-wise and sound-wise that a lot of people don't bother to go through with. And it's sort of the old-fashioned way. I mean, it's the way people like the band did it and the Beatles did it. And I mean, they live together. They sweat and bleed and laugh and love and rock together and all this stuff. You know, and that's sort of what we went through in those days. And at the time, I hated it. And then looking back, I sort of think, you know, that it was essential to be in the band that we are. You know?
Well, and funnily enough, talking to the four musicians we always get to, whenever the Trews the name the Trews are brought up, you guys are one of the most loved bands by other musicians, like by other guitar players, by the musicians, because of how warm and friendly and you know what that's like.
Yeah, I'm always flattered to hear that. You know, we bump into bands all over the place, so they're always tend to be fans, you know, and if they aren't, they keep their mouth shut. So I appreciate that too.
So let's talk guitars.
Yeah.
All right, because you got a little passion for guitars.
Yeah, just a small one. Yeah.
So, favorite guitar in that rig, what is it?
My favorite guitar is the 59 reissue that I picked up from the showroom here, the historic reissue. It's you know, before that I've played Les Pauls. I have two black Les Pauls, and I have a 76 custom Les Paul that Les Paul actually signed before he passed away, which is one of the prizes in my collection. But above all those, when I picked up the 59 off the wall here in the showroom, it just, the weight of it, the resonance of it, the way the neck felt, was just like the perfect guitar. I mean, there's a reason why they call that the Holy Grail guitar, that 58, 59 model, you know. One of the reasons that the originals go for like 300 grand now is because they're just, it's not just, you know, market value, it's because they're that precious, they're that good. You know, I've had the opportunity to play a few of the originals. And the historic reissue does a really good job of replicating almost everything about it. I think the only difference is the specifics of the wood, but I mean, it's a great guitar, and it's my favorite one.
And the acoustic side? Because, I mean, you're always...
Hummingbird, I love my Hummingbird, I love the 12-string. I mean, a really good J45 is really hard to beat. Some of the 185s we pulled off the wall have been great. Getting that.
Okay, and so the Trews, yes, power trim. So the Trews are going to be recording, or are recording a new record.
Yeah.
So for the fans out there, when do they think they're going to hear anything?
Well, it's funny. Mike Fraser actually starts mixing our album today out in Vancouver, and I hope to get out there in the next couple of weeks to visit him. Not that he needs any coaching; he's one of the best. So he starts mixing, and we'll start hearing the record in the next 2 weeks in its final state. And I think the plan is to put a single out in December, and then put the album out in February 2011.
Well, we're all really looking forward to that, because you know what, there can never be enough Trews.
I agree with that.
All right. Well, thank you, John Angus.
No problem.